Hey guys, welcome to another day on the shop. Today, we're working on the CJ5. Well, I bought all new front end tie rods and steering rods, but I just put some grease in these. We'll see how long they last. I noticed my steering box, if you can look at it real quick, watch it. It shifts. It has a little play in it. So I'm wondering if this is loose or if it's just tore up. So I'm going to try and snug it down some more and see if that works. Hopefully it does and makes this to where it doesn't have sloppy steering. Well, after I've snugged things down, I found out these Allen head bolts up top are still loose. So I'm going to take the whole mechanism off. It's raining, it's loud, but took the plasma, put a hole out, got a new bolt in because the wrench wouldn't fit in here. So it's 3/4 that fits, and that bolt had a welded nut on it, but it was rounded off, as well as it has a bunch of weld slag all over it, if you see. So yeah, it wasn't coming out anyway. So I burned it off, put a new one in, as well as tighten everything up. It's a little tighter, not much. Put in a new steering stabilizer, and now I'm taking the shocks off the front, and yeah, we're replacing them just like the back. Some rough countries. So let's throw these new ones on. Well, got the shocks on, but it looks like I'm going to have to order some more because look at that. Yeah, either order some more or get a bigger lift. And for right now, it might be just to order some more because they're $100. So the back's done. In the front, we have a little issue because, hey little puppy. Because of the compression on them is extreme. So the difference between these shocks that were on there and those shocks that are on there now, should have taken these off whenever I called. That would have helped out. I didn't. So yeah, we got shocks. We got shocks. We fixed some steering, hopefully. I'm waiting on this little bushing right here, and I got to clean this up to get this thing off, I guess. This thing is rusted to pieces right here. So yeah, but I got to get a new bearing up here because this is not how I'm driving down the road. So that's Wednesday. These shocks are shot, if you can't tell. Yeah. So shocks and everything are shot. So, I got too many puppies. Anyway, back to it. So we got our steering bushing in, or bearing. Pulling this one out, as you see how it comes out, it has a little notch right there which goes in that little hole, and then a big notch right there that goes in this big hole back here. So we're going to pull that out. It looks nasty. I'm going to throw that on the ground. I'm going to kind of wire wheel this real quick to give me some more yeah, cleanliness, because it does look like it goes all the way up to here. And if that's the case, then yeah, that other bearing slid down after unsnapping. So it's got all the pieces with it. It's got the little ring. It's got a little clip in there to hold the ring on. It's got the bearing and the little holder for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to first slip on this plastic ring and then slip on the bearing itself, or we're going to press them together actually, slip them on together. But like I said, first we're going to clean this up real quick with the wire wheel, this little wire wheel on my drill, and we're just going to keep going on it like we did the other day. Shine it up real good, throw a little bit of WD-40 or something on it, and then just pop that bearing back in place. So let's do that. So just a nice little push together, it pops right in place. Alright, so we got the big end and then we got the small end. So I'm going to slide this up if it'll go. Oh. Got a socket here. I had a socket. Alright, got a socket here, just tapping it on to where I can get it right in place. So we're keeping in mind where these little tabs are, and we're just going to tap until we get it to where we want it. Alright, so we got that bearing in. Now it's time to place this back in its proper spot. And we're going to try and rotate the steering wheel while we do this to keep it straight. So this is not going to be fun. So let me throw this in real quick. Hopefully it'll just go right in. So pull the front shocks off. Too big. Order some more already. Steering is working. Still a little loose. Looks like this joint right here is loose, if you can see it. So I'm going to have to end up ordering me another shaft because that one's really loose. So, oh well, I'll order another one. Shouldn't be difficult to put on. Now I just got to figure out these wires right here because they're in my way for my brake booster. So, yep, I don't know how else to deal with all this other than going around like that. Alright, well, we're going to get this brake booster on. So it's right here. We're going to start putting that on here and bleeding the brake booster, or brake master cylinder, and then putting it on. And then all we got is gauges left after we bleed that. But then we just got the gauges that are going down here, and I'm not going to worry about anything else right now. I want this out of my shop. I want it on the road. I want to drive it. So let's get this brake booster on. Alright, well, I'm going to take these pins out. I already took the bottom one off for that one right there for the brake booster. Now this is for the brake pedal. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to put it on, and actually no, I'm not. I'm going to leave it on here. I'm going to bolt this up to the firewall, put this through the firewall, and then adjust this how I need to fit. And then once I get that fit, then we can place this on there and rotate this one right here, if you can see it. Rotate this one to where I need it, and then we'll lock it all down with the lock nuts. So, alright, I don't have any instructions, so I started putting this in. I've tightened the bolts already, but I'll probably have to loosen them back up to get the master or the booster on. These are going to have to sit here and come further up, but you got these little swirls in there to help with certain things. So we're just going to stretch these out a little bit more. But this is on there. This will have to be tightened once I get everything situated. And then the brake master, I decided to clean it up and throw a coat of paint on it. So we got some semi-gloss black going on it just to keep rust off, because the last master cylinder I put on started rusting really bad as soon as I put it on, because it comes as cast. So it needs to have a coat of paint. So yeah, let's look at getting this booster and placing it where it needs to go, and working our way down from there. So yeah, let's do that. So we got it in. 1/2 inch bolts, 9/16 And we have enough pressure down here on the brake pedal, but I have to get a cotter pin. Apparently I have misplaced my cotter pin. It's probably up under here though. Let me take a look real quick, because I moved a whole bunch of stuff around. It's really dark. There's something. That might be it. That's it. Then we'll snap all this back in. So yeah, that's all good. Now we just need to finish the brake master over there, give it one more coat of paint. We need a vacuum source, which tees off back there, and we need to hook this fuel line back up. We actually need to go get some more fuel line and fix all this. Then after that, we'll fix this pan down here and get our gauges in. Gauges shouldn't take long. I just ordered some cheap volt, temp, and oil pressure, and then a little tack. So I'll make all that happen, because that's all you really need when it comes down to driving. This little doohickey panel, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or get it out of here. This little 12-volt source, I don't know if I'm keeping it, but all those wires down there are going to be tucked, so they're not hanging, dangling, getting kicked around and everything else. So yeah, let's put another coat of paint on this brake master, and then start finishing up here so we can get this thing off the jack stands, which I need to do an oil change too. So that's on my list. I need to make another list. Got too many things. Spray paint. Just doing a couple coats on there so it protects it, because I still have to bleed it. Once I bleed it, it'll go on here. These look like 1/2-inch bolts too. So this little cover comes off, and the brake master just sits right in there. And we'll hook these lines up. We'll make it to where they're not all tensioned up. So these were for the brake master, but now they just go in the pile of bolts that I have for this thing now. So yeah, next. Okay, well, waiting on that master cylinder. Got the gauges starting. Temp gauge is hooked up. Oil pressure gauge is being hooked up. Got this little grommet kit. I got two of them actually. I got this style, just a hole. I got this style, which is a cut through. So if you don't want water getting in, instead of it just being chafed, you can cut a small hole in that and feed whatever you need through it. That's the one I'm using for the firewall, due to the fact of rain and everything else getting in there. But so like I said, here's the temp sensor. I got liquid everywhere due to the fact of it poured out. This is my oil pressure not sensor, but gauge. I'm going to put something over this before I do this. But down here in the depths of everything, and these awesome wires, I'm going to change the oil. And in the midst of changing the oil, the oil pressure sensor, something. It's a 3-prong, which this Jeep I think has a single prong for the gauge. So this was probably aftermarket and didn't work, or it was cut or something. But I'm going to attach it to where that goes, so I have something to read. But I'm going to drain the oil first, and then we're going to do an oil change. Alright, well, after crushing this thing to get it off, looking at the oil, and this oil is nasty. It really needs to be changed. It's just black and brown and smells a little bit like gas. Ugh. So yeah, I made a mess, as always. Always making a mess. But this thing wasn't meant to have its oil changed very easily, I guess. Slicing myself up today too. Got multiple injuries, but that's the name of the game, to have wonderful, wonderful pieces like this. So let's finish up on changing this filter out and cleaning my mess up, And then as well, before I change the filter out, I still got my little thingamabob right there where this thing will just go down and loop around into it. So let's do that. All right, so I took this off. As you see, it's the same thread pitch as this. So works out good. So all I gotta do with this little 3-prong, which I don't know why there's a 3-prong on there. Like I said, they could have had a 3-prong on there, but it doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to, yeah, swap them out. Let's do that. All right, I know you can't see this, but right down here, I changed out a plug that was on the end right there to the little nipple for this. So now we're going to just attach this and then reroute it all the way back to the cab. As you see, I put some, yeah, some wire loom on it. So let's get this done. Well, it's evening. We'll switch shirts again. All right, I gotta tighten this down, but we're gonna bench bleed it. But we're gonna bench bleed it on the car, so a little different than bench bleeding it on a bench vise or something, because it's a pain in the butt, and I don't like sitting there pushing it back and forth with a screwdriver. So I'm gonna push it back and forth with my foot. But what you have is you have these little things that stick in here, and then you have this little thing that holds these up here, which is not very good. It's a little cheap thing. And then you take your brake fluid, either DOT3 or 4 or whatever you want to use, and then you pour some in. Alright, and then you pour some in. Alright, kind of as much as you can. There we go. We'll top it off with some DOT4 because that's all I got left, which is premium brake fluid, which is actually meant for high heat. Alright, so we got that. We're going to put a rag up under here just to make sure this doesn't leak. And then, yeah, we're going to still tighten these up. And then we're going to start bleeding it by pushing that pedal. So let's do that. Alright, everything's bled. I ran into a little incident where I didn't put these plugs in tight enough. So I did that. I blocked this off just for the fun of it. So it wouldn't have a source of backing up. It shouldn't have, but you never know. So let's put this hose back on, and then we can hook up these lines. And yeah, there we go. Alright, let's try and hook up these lines now. Alright, both lines are hooked up, snugged up, and yeah, they pretty much have a little bit of tension, but not too much. So I think they're all good. I got all these vacuum lines that I could probably get rid of, and I just haven't yet. Yeah, I don't think these things are attached to anything. So I might just take this canister out and just leave it be. Less place for rust to be. So, yeah, now I just got to bleed the brakes, starting with the rear passenger and work my way. Rear passenger, rear driver, front passenger, front driver. So it shouldn't be too difficult with a little mechanism I have. Yeah, let's knock that out. Well, what I like to do is I have this little self bleeder. It's like a $10, $15 thing from AutoZone. I got my hose, come all the way down here. All right, I think you see your speed bleeder right there. Pop this little rubber cap off, and then find out which wrench fits it. It's either 3/8 or it's 10 millimeter. That's the 3/8. 10 millimeter normally works. Oh, so you're gonna loosen it up, if it will. So let's try that. Alright, we're going to loosen it up, and we're going to put our hose on it. But first we're going to get our ratchet on here, so that once we loosen it up a little bit and let it drain, we can tighten it right back up. Oop, my light went out. All right, so that's how we do it. All right, guys, well, finally got it primed and everything else. It took a little while. What I did was I took this little filler neck off for the carb, and I put just a little doohickey on there, fill it full of gas until the filter was full, and then I sprung a leak. I had to replace the other fuel line that I didn't replace because it ruptured and poured fuel all over my floor and myself. So I reek of fuel right now. You hear it clicking kind of. It's just resting. But yeah, it runs. It's got oil pressure. So let's crank this thing up real quick. So it runs. See, I got about 45-ish PSI of oil pressure. Don't have any coolant temp yet. I haven't hooked this gauge up, but you have that one hooked up over there, which is wrong. I don't know why. So what I have to do is I got to hook that up over there, and we'll go with it from there. Then I got to check the lights and everything else, but it runs. It doesn't sound too bad. I do have one little leak of exhaust, and it's right about here. It's a pinhole leak. I need to fix it so that my passenger doesn't get some good exhaust fumes. But yeah. So it sounds really good. I'm liking it. So my next thing is I'm gonna take it for a test drive. I gotta put one more thing in here. I want to put this in here. Probably will in just a minute. But I got the glove box, and then got two other things. Got the ignition because it's running. The keys in my hand. So it doesn't need a key to start, which anybody can take it for a drive if they want to, I guess, right now. It's freelance. Anybody want it, cool. You can drive it around. It's a joke, don't come to my house. Yeah. So that all works. And then the glove box, the ignition, and the high beams. And then we'll just hopefully toss this in, depending on how I can put it in there. It might go on the column if I have a round thing, round mount. Might go right here on the column. If it doesn't, then I'll figure it out. But I'm not putting it on the dash. So. All right. Well, got the tachometer in there. I broke the little tooth off trying to push it. It helps with a screwdriver. So everything's kind of wired up, minus lights, because I don't have a light source. It's kind of weird. I got headlights, but I don't have a light source in the cab. So everything else is plumbed up, wired up. Got a little connector right there on the negative tack signal. Oh, gonna shut this hood, and then got my shocks in. So we're gonna put these shocks on and take it for a test drive. Let's do that. was a pleasant ride. I do have a little bit of worry. My coolant temp is not working. The why is that still there? Oil pressure's working. Bolts are working over there, but my coolant temp is not. And neither is my tack. My tack's not acting right. Oh, I can't get out of this thing. Ugh. But it sounds good. It drives pretty good, but yeah, that tack's staying around 1 to 2,000 RPMs. I'm not seeing any leaks. The steering's wonky. It's bouncy, but yeah. I mean, it's kind of straight, and you see the steering wheel is not. So that's something I got to work on. The tack is sitting in here decently. It's not going anywhere, but yeah, I don't know if it needs to be set on V6 or what, but it's not getting the correct tack signal. I might be plugged into the wrong thing anyway. But it's on the road, it's driving, and I'm going to take it to work. And that's 30 miles. And yeah, I'm going to leave early. I'm going slow for how bouncy I am. So, yeah. So let's see, what did we get done? Well, so far, we went through everything. We went from front to back, we went through the carb, we went through the fuel, we replaced all the fuel lines, we did the shocks, front and rear, we did frame repair, we did a little, we did the body mounts, and we did a brake booster. And we did some gauges, and I don't like that that's not working, but I can always change it out pretty simply. I gotta mount this. It's comfortable in there, even though it's not in there. In the glove box, I have to take the dash out to get to it. So now I got an oil mess to clean up, and parts everywhere and tools everywhere to clean up. I reek of gas, and so does my shop. So I want to thank you for joining in to another episode of the shop, and hopefully soon you'll see this thing on the road more, and we'll take some cruises to the store and whatnot. And yeah, we got plenty more CJ and other builds coming up, so stay tuned, and yeah, give me a like. So until next time.